Hello there, and welcome back to the Agostino Zinga Show with your host, Agostino Zinga, and this is episode number 952. It should be 952. If it's not 952, who gives a damn right now? Who gives an absolute damn? The weekend is ruined. The weekend is ruined. In case you're wondering why the weekend is ruined, I'll get into that in a couple of minutes, but thank you so much for joining me once again on this hallowed day. I'm currently now recording this at Sunday the 28th of September around 11, 17, 18 a.m. Still licking my wounds, still contemplating throwing myself out the nearest window or running into the nearest wall or tripping over a curb or falling down some stairs or stubbing my toe on the corner of the couch. I'm considering all those things and above to make myself feel something, to get out the pain and the anger and the upset at United losing 3-1 away from home at the mighty Brentford the other day. The mighty Brentford. So we're going to get right into that and some other cultural commentary bits, but I'm so thankful to have you today. So, United 1, Brentford 3. Brentford 3, United 1, right? An absolute, I would say, a horror show of a game. I'm not going to say it was a horror show, but it was one of those games where it makes you question everything, you know? It makes you question everything. It makes you question absolutely everything. And yeah, man, it wasn't great. Let's just say that. It was not great. It was not great. We lost 3-1. We probably could have lost way more than 3-1, to be completely honest. Luckily, Brentford are pretty shit. Even though we lost to them, this is just objectively speaking, Brentford are not a great team. So we were very, very fortunate in that regard. We were very, very fortunate in the regard that Brentford are not a great team and they weren't able to really batter us the way we should be deserved to get battered. But it was bad. It was real bad. And yeah, man, I don't know what to say, really. I really don't know what to say. It just keeps getting worse and worse for us. Just when you think things are going to get better, just when you think we are on the right tracks, things seems to go the completely other way. Let me just quickly get this so it can fit on the screen. But I think a lot of people, myself included, are not that surprised, right? I'm not super surprised. I was kind of surprised at the optimism a lot of fans have, because I think in general anyway, United fans are weirdly giddy and optimistic. I've always wondered why, especially on social media. There's a bunch of fans on social media who seem to always hope for the best, and I don't really understand that. When you watch us every week, you know, I can get it if you're like a rival fan. If you're a rival fan and you don't really watch us every week, I can get why you could maybe have this assumption that we're a far better team than what we are based on the players and the name brand recognition and all that malarkey. But I think if you watch us every week, I don't see how people were really confident we were going to win 2 games in a row. People are like, oh yeah, we're going to win 2 wins in a row. We're going to, after we beat Chelsea, the Brentford game, that's going to be one where we're going to finally get some wins on the table. 2 wins in a row. And I never really thought that. I thought, if anything, the way Brentford play, they're kind of, you know, for lack of a better word, they're sort of like Sunday league style of playing football. I actually thought that was going to give us problems anyway. I was never under the assumption. I was never under the idea that Brentford were going to be an easy game to play against or easy club, especially with that guy Igor out front who's been banging the goals back from flipping injury, which is just our luck, by the way, right? They get a striker who they've had already, comes back from injury, and he's now suddenly firing. So I was never really super confident that we were going to win. But, you know, Brentford, facing Brentford after Chelsea is probably better than facing Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal or something. So, you know, I'll take it. But the game immediately started off on the wrong foot. In my opinion. Well, I guess after the first 10, let's be fair, the first maybe 10 minutes, let's say maybe 7, right? The first maybe 7 minutes, we played decently. We were popping the ball around, we're looking pretty decent. But the problem with this United team is that, like, you always know if the other team scores on the counter or if they score, like, unexpectedly, it's going to make our players drop their heads. You know, the other teams, like, even Man City, they used to do this in the beginning. Man City would, like, dominate possession, but they might face a team like us sometimes where we get jammy and we sneak a little goal, you know, against a run of play. Like, they've had 80% possession. We haven't touched the ball for the last 10 minutes. But then we get a break. Boom, boom, boom. Suddenly the ball's in the box and bang, we smash it in. You know, usually someone like a Scott McTominay bangs it in and we're done, right? But Man City wouldn't let their heads drop. They get the ball back into the center of the pitch, take kick off and go again, you know? They wouldn't let that affect them. And I think we have the opposite effect. Once the team scores, even if we're in a good momentum, it kind of deflates us. So although we were started off well, as soon as they broke, it kind of, you knew what was going to happen, especially with our defending. Like I was not really happy that one ball over the top, I think it was from Henderson, that one ball over the top found Igor Thiago. Oh no, he didn't find. I think he found a strike partner who passed it then to Igor Thiago. But our defense was all over the pitch. There was no midfield. That ball completely bypassed the midfield. It completely bypassed the defenders. For some reason, Harry Maguire was the last line of defense, and I think that has to be a tactical thing. That has to be you have to blame the manager for that. You have to blame the manager because I don't know how you're defending with a high line with 3 defenders at the back, and Harry Maguire is your last line of defense, knowing that he's slow, you know, knowing that he's not got the best acceleration. Whatever, all that malarkey. It just put him in a bad position, and obviously he looked flipping horrendous trying to get back. But to be fair as well, the ball did land in an opportune space for Igor Thiago, and he was really able to just like basically get right on goal, right, as the ball went over the top. So I don't think Maguire had any, even if Maguire was fast, I don't think he would have got back anyway. So that goal, although I wasn't happy with it, I can maybe chalk it to just like, you know, nerves and not being on the game. Although I think we spent 1 week without any European football, 1 week training all day or training all week. You'd expect us to come out of the blocks firing, ready to fucking go. We didn't do that, and that's the punishment that we got. Fair, no problem. But there are little things that concern me. The things that concern me were the lack of urgency from our defenders in that first 10 minutes. I saw Shaw jogging back. I saw the Lit jogging back. I saw Maguire trying to play Igor Thiago offside, fucking ridiculous. And I also just saw like a lack of, you know, a confusion from what's going on there. And the other thing that I didn't like as well was from Cunha. Cunha got fouled, which probably should have been a foul, right? He probably should have got a free kick. He didn't get it. And I didn't like the lack of urgency, you know? Like having your hands up on the floor in the first 9 minutes when you don't get the foul, I don't like that. Get up quickly. If that's later on in the game, fair enough. But in the beginning, I don't like that. Sure, cool. It happened anyway. And then the game continues and we don't really get any handle on the game, I don't feel like. Even after they score, I don't feel like we really took control back of the game. I think it was still back and forth. And against Brentford, I don't want that. I want us to be better than that. I want us to kind of grab the game by the scruff of the neck and kind of control it, dominate possession, pepper them with shots. We didn't really pepper them with shots too much. I don't think we even had a shot on target. I think the only shot on target we had was maybe from Sesko. Maybe I think he picked up the ball in the edge of the box and he spun and banged it, but we didn't have many chances. So we were playing pretty shit. And then, of course, the second goal happens, right? We're playing pretty shit and the second goal happens. And I think the second goal might be worse than the first goal in terms of a comedy of errors from all the players playing. An absolute comedy of errors. Number one, again, that long ball. I'm not liking how often long balls down the wing through the middle completely destroy us. I don't know who it was again. Maybe it was Henderson once more. Another long ball to Brentford's winger. He picks up the ball. He runs down the side. I think a 1-2 with Igor. And then he cuts the ball back. And for some reason, Bayinda parries the ball out into the danger zone. It comes back to Igor Thiago. He scores the easiest goal he's ever going to score this season. All fucking season. I don't like how the one long ball destroys us. I don't like how easy they were able to do that 1-2 on the side of the pitch. I also don't like how often, it doesn't matter who's in goal now, Onana or Bayinda, why do our keepers like to parry the ball into the danger zone? What happened to parrying the ball out wide? What happened to jumping on it, trying to grab it? Why are they always parrying it right into the D? Where the striker's always going to be, right? That's where any striker worth their salt, any striker who's got anything about them is going to be hovering in that D. Any attacking midfielder is going to be hovering in the box in general. So there's always going to be somebody that's going to be sniffing the goal. And of course, Bayinda parried it out there. Igor Thiago jumped on it and he scored, honestly, an easier goal than he's ever scored in his entire flipping life. It's absolutely crazy. And then, of course, again, still no control on the game. And then I think we get our goal, right? The 2-1 goal, which kind of would give us some inkling, some little inkling of flipping light that we might be get back into the game. it came off if I'm not mistaken, it came off of Dogu as well. Dogu's been, unironically speaking, right? I know people are kind of in love with Mbuemo, but he's not scoring goals, so I don't really give a fuck, really. It's all good doing all that fancy stuff, but if you're not scoring goals or you're not assisting, then I don't give a fuck. But I think Dogu's been our best attacking player. I think Dogu has been our best attacking player. I really enjoyed watching him bomb up that left. He's definitely been the best attacking fullback. He's given us an idea, an inkling of what kind of Amrin wants from that position. It would be nice if we had two of him, another one of his quality on the right hand side, but we don't. We have guys like Dallo and shit. But yeah, Dogu was really good. He didn't give up on the ball. It was just it was probably about to go out. He scooped it back into the side of the box, like a big like looping kick back into the box. And then a couple of their defenders of the goalkeeper got under the ball. Sesko heads it, kicks it with his right foot, heads it, keeper saves it, kicks it with his right foot, keeper saves it, hits his left foot. It's almost like a perfect hat trick of attempts, right? Header, right foot, left foot. And he finally got the goal. Now, if I'm being a little bit picky, if I'm being a little bit critical, I'd say he should have scored with a header. If I'm being a little bit critical, I say a striker of his ilk, 6'5", he should be scoring with a header alone, sending it the opposite direction, boom, it's in. But the fact that the ball kept dropping to him and he was still composed enough to get the shots or get the attempts on target and then score the third one, no problem. Happy he got himself on the score sheet. But again, it came at the worst time possible. You couldn't really celebrate it or enjoy it because we shouldn't be 2-0 down away from home from Brentford anyway. Especially not this Brentford, right? This Brentford aren't even good. We lost to better Brentford teams with Mbuemo and fucking, what's his fucking name? The other guy playing up front, right? We faced good Brentfords back in the day, which you could understand why we lost, especially with a Thomas Frank as manager. He's a fucking great manager. See what he's doing fucking at Tottenham. But Jesus Christ, man. Still, you'd hope we were going to push for the second before half time. We didn't. The second half starts and again, more of the same. Not really, I don't really feel enough urgency, even though we're 2-1 down. And we shouldn't need a win. We're trying to go for the win. We're not going for the draw. You think there'll be more urgency? Again, there's no urgency. And Brentford end up getting the third goal. But before the third goal happens, we have a penalty. Right? And I don't think the penalty, I would have taken it anyway. So sometimes, you know, when you get penalties, it's like, oh, we don't deserve the victory. But at this stage of our season, at this stage of our quote-unquote development under Amrin, I'm taking anything. We get the penalty, and Mbeumo gets pulled down in the box by the Brentford defender. It probably should have been a red card, to be fair. It probably should have been a red card because it was a clear denying of a goal-scoring attempt. He wasn't even trying to defend. He just tried to pull him back. I don't know why he didn't get a red card, but that's the thing about football. Even though we have VAR, that's why if you're a defender, it's still a pretty interesting sport to play and to kind of figure out how to defend. Because even though we have VAR, you can still get away with things, you know? That's the interesting thing about football now. Even though we have VAR, you can still get away with those type of pulls because that is a red card, standardly, right? And that would have probably changed the whole climate of the game. Even if Bruno still misses, that changes the climate of the game because they've got 10 men now. We're attacking against 10. Doesn't happen. Cool. Bruno steps up, and to be fair to Brentford, they did well. Brentford did well too. Brentford really stalled the penalty. They were somehow allowed to make a triple substitution before the penalty was taken. So Bruno was waiting for fucking ages. Fair enough, he had the ball under his arm, but he was stewing over that penalty for fucking ages. He eventually takes the penalty. From the run-up already, I felt like he wasn't going to score. He didn't look that confident. The referee blew the whistle. It took him a minute to really compose himself. And then he walks up really slow to the penalty spot. And yeah, he kind of tries to side foot it in the opposite corner. But obviously the keeper reads it really well and saves it. Now, the keeper saved it. I don't think it was a great save, but I think more so Bruno took a shit penalty. And then cool. Now the game is definitely over because I didn't see us scoring from open play anyway. I think if we score that second goal, that maybe galvanizes the players who have not a lot of self-belief and they're super emotionally fucking, you know, they're super emotionally unstable. So I don't think so it wasn't ever happen anyway if we didn't score that penalty. We don't score the penalty, and then soon after, Brentford get back the ascendancy in the game. I think we make some substitution. Euro and Maino come on, who probably should have came on too late. I think Euro should have started, obviously, but they come on anyway. They change a little bit of the flow of the midfield, especially with Ugarte now off the pitch, who's not that great on the ball but can defend pretty well.
And then, of course, naturally, we end up giving away the third goal at the end, which kind of seals the fucking game for us, isn't it? Because we're not gonna, if we aren't gonna come back at 2-1, we're definitely not gonna come back at 3-1. The third goal was fairly well taken. Jensen clobbered it, but I think upon watching the replay, I think a better goalkeeper saves that. It came right through his body. Yes, it was shot with power, and you know, a lot of these new balls, they kind of pick up pace, you know, as you hit it. But I think a top goalkeeper would save that. You know, if David De Gea was in goal, I think he saves that. He tips that over the bar. But again, you know, this is what we get when we have like shitty goalkeepers that Erik ten Hag kind of brought into the club, innit, with Bayinda and fucking Onana, who's now left, thankfully. But Bayinda is not really, you know, he kept us in the game in the first half, to be fair to him. It could have been 4 or more in the first half, so I wouldn't be too critical. But I think that third goal, a goalkeeper saves it. But by then anyway, the game was already over, so it doesn't really fucking matter. And then it ends 3-1. Now, little tidbits of the game. Little tidbits to highlight. Number one tidbit I want to highlight is, it's fairly evident to me that if Bruno Fernandes doesn't score or assist, he's a fairly useless football player. I've been a known, well, you know, documented hater of Bruno Fernandes for a long time, mostly because I think the fan base overhypes him, and also because I think at the time when Bruno came in, there was almost this like civil war amongst United fans between like the ones who like Pogba and the ones who like Bruno. And because Bruno was getting up numbers and he was doing all the stats and the stat padding and assists and stuff, he was made to look better than Pogba. And obviously Pogba also was going through a bad time. But Bruno is garbage, man. Bruno offers nothing to that midfield, nothing to that team if he's not scoring and assisting. And the reason why I bring him up is because I feel like at the moment, the man just trying to shoehorn him, square peg, round hole type of him in the midfield or in the team, because he's quote unquote our best player. So he kind of has to play no matter what. So even if he's not playing in his best position, at the moment he's playing as a deep lining, double pivot, you know, midfielder type of thing. That's not his best position. He plays better going forward. He should be playing in a position that maybe, you know, Cunha's playing, or maybe a bit further forward, whatever, right? But he's not, because those other attacking players are better than him in those second players. So they put him in the position that he can maybe still influence the game. But he can't. And I think if you're going to play this system that Amorim wants, right, where it's like a 3-4-2-1, your wing backs are basically another form of wingers. Your two attacking midfielders are two attacking midfielders. So you're going to need Bruno and Ugarte to kind of hold that position in midfield. I think Maguire can maybe step in and help a bit, but again, he's slow. But I think you're going to need those two midfielders to occupy that space. And unfortunately, Bruno isn't disciplined enough. He's not potentially disciplined enough to occupy that space. He goes wandering too often for me. And when he gets on the ball, he's just not good enough to be a midfielder. You know, maybe he's good enough to play as like a you know, whatever, hybrid 6 or whatever. No, number 9, right? That might be a way to go forward. But I don't think in any other big team he could really operate as a midfielder. He's just not good enough. Maybe before when he was assisting and scoring, but now those are dried up for the most part. He's really lacking influence, and I think for the future of our team, we have to work out a solution where he doesn't play. He can't be playing every game just off his name brand or his reputation alone. I just don't think, number one, he's good enough to demand that kind of level of inclusion, and he's obviously not playing good enough on form. But for some reason, Bruno doesn't get judged on form. Bruno gets judged on previous history, so he has to play, which I don't like. I think it's almost like the same thing happened to Rooney towards the end of his career at Man United. Rooney was clearly like, you know, over the hill and not doing well. And instead of just like playing him off the bench, they'd always play him to start because it's fucking Wayne Rooney. But then he'd look horrible, and it'd kind of ruin reputation, right? It'd have the fans kind of booing at him and going crazy. And he doesn't need that. Just play him off the bench, give him the best, you know, ability to do that. So, and in Bruno's case, I think he would improve. I think he'd be better because he's never been off the pitch. He's always been playing. And I think maybe being away and not being able to start all the time would actually do wonders for him, and he might actually get the motivation back into play. There was a moment actually towards the end of the game where it looked like he gave up. I'm not gonna lie. He was, throughout the game anyway, he was annoying. He was back to his annoying self, waving his hands in the air, rolling his eyes, like just being a cunt, always moaning, which I fucking hate. And if I'm not mistaken, there was a bit towards the end of the match where he got the ball in midfield and he passed it to Maino and just told him go. Like, he didn't want the ball. He didn't want to like dictate the play. He told Maynard to figure it out, and he just had his head down, like kind of in a strop, and he didn't really do much. And I'm pretty sure maybe the third goal came off the back of that. I'm pretty sure. If I'm not mistaken, I think the third goal came off the back of him, like not really caring, not really trying to run back. And obviously the game was kind of over by then. I'm not liking the lack of service that Sesko's getting or not getting. Personally, I don't rate him that highly anyway. I don't think he's that much better than Højlund. I think he's just a taller, maybe more sophisticated, quote unquote, version of a Højlund. But I think we could have kept Højlund, saved that money and spent on the midfield. I think Højlund was worthy of getting another season playing up front for us, especially with his desire to play for the club as well. I think he would have made it work. But I don't like the fact that Sesko, who clearly looks like he thrives on balls through the middle, balls around the corner, crosses into the box, we never do that. The one time we get a cross into the box, look how much trouble it causes and he scores a goal. But how often is he on the end of crosses? I don't think I've ever seen him make a run across the defender near post to flick a ball into the goal. No one's made that cross into the box. No one's done a long ball that he could maybe run onto, you know, with his chest and kind of chest it down and like volley, like he's done it. Like we've not seen. He's not the same striker playing for us. Cunha doesn't look the same playing for us. He's having to travel with the ball like 60 yards with no one near him to kind of get close to the goal. Mbeumo is obviously looking not like the player that we saw at Brentford. Not finishing, not getting the ball closest to the goal either. I feel like when Mbeumo was at Brentford, he would literally get the ball on the bar line, but he'd be like 10 yards further forward. At United, he's almost receiving the ball at the halfway line. Same happened to Anthony. That's why I felt like Anthony deserved a second chance at United, because he's never been fast, but he never said he was. He was receiving the ball at the halfway line. And then he having to sprint past like 7 players to try and get closer to the goal. Whereas you should have the ball, like if it's further closer to the goal, there's going to be more of a chance for he can impact the game and obviously attack and be a threat on goal. So I'm not liking that either. And then of course the selection. Amarin's, in my opinion, I'm sure some of you agree, he's definitely going to get himself fired. He's definitely going to get himself sacked for trusting the wrong players. Trusting the Maguires, the Shaws, the Bruno Fernandes, the Ugartes, all of that trust he puts at the Dallos. Those are going to be players that are going to end up getting him sacked because they're shit. The Ugarte thing, if you're going to play Ugarte as a defensive midfielder because Casemiro is not here, play him alongside fucking Maino. Play him alongside a midfielder that can maybe hold that position. That would make some level of sense to me. And then maybe sacrifice one of the wingers if you want to play Bruno because you want to play him up front and then play him there. That's the only way to do it. But you can't play Bruno next to Ugarte because Bruno's not defensively disciplined. And then when Ugarte gets left in the midfield by himself and he gets onto the ball, we're reminded of how shit he is. But that's not his role. His role is to be a destroyer. But he's now asked to play make. He's now asked to get the ball and pass it 5-10 yards, which he can't do that well. Not consistently. You want him to get the ball, destroy, pass to the people that can pass, and then go from there. But he's now getting the ball, having to create. It's just, it's a fucking nightmare. And then Luke Shaw and Harry Maguire. Why are they playing for United in big 2025? Why are Luke Shaw and Harry Maguire playing for Manchester United in big 2025? It makes no sense. And Luke Shaw, you see the injuries, the lack of discipline and diet, whatever, is taking its toll on his body. Because although he probably has a six-pack, his mobility is horrendous. He can't sprint back. That recovery pace that he was noted for isn't there. He can't turn. He just looks weird and very stiff. Maguire has always been slow and very kind of rigid in his movement anyway. And he looks fucking horrendous. But he's been made to look worse, to be honest, because we're playing a high line and 3 at the back. Maybe in the back 4 he doesn't look as bad and fucking vulnerable. But still, I don't want to rely on those two. We've got centre-backs on the bench. We have Euro, we have Heaven, who could play that role. I don't know why we're persistent with these motherfuckers. It makes absolutely no sense to me. And De Ligt also had a bit of a horror show. De Ligt had a horror show for the first goal and the second goal, if we're going to be honest. And for me anyway, I'm never going to change my mind on De Ligt being a Dutch Phil Jones. He has no control of his body and his limbs. His balance was all over the place. He's always sliding last minute to get on the ball. He's not very Dutch in his like play on the ball. Like for a Dutch defender, he's pretty shit with the ball at his feet. I don't rate him personally. I'm not the biggest fan of him. But, you know, maybe he's getting his second life at United is what it is. And obviously, Dalot offered basically nothing going forward. Absolutely nothing. He come back from injury and he's straight into a starting lineup, but he's absolutely pants. So there's so much to do, so much work that has to be done. And I just don't think Amarin's a guy, unfortunately. The system isn't working. He's not willing to adapt or change it, to tweak it, to make it work. I also understand why it's not working, because he doesn't really have the level of play that he needs to make it work. But this club isn't going to buy them, as they showed when he first joined. He never got the players when he first joined in January. He didn't get all the players he needed in fucking the summer, although we did exit a lot of players. But then it just comes down to wins, man. It just comes down to wins. And unfortunately, like, losing this many games, consistently losing these many games, I just don't think you deserve the time. You just don't. You have to, and I think he said it himself, you have to earn the time to make your changes, to develop things. And I don't think he's earned it. He's not earned anything. It's been pretty shocking. I'm also not enjoying his emotional instability. The fact that he kind of always threatens to walk but never does. He's always crying about the players and this and that. I just don't like it. I don't like how emotional he seems to be. I know that's his nature and he's Portuguese and whatever, but it's annoying for me. I find it really fucking annoying, and I'm sure the players probably do as well. We probably need a change, but I think the club, the fans, and those players don't deserve a change. I'm more than happy to have Amarin stay to the end of the season to punish everybody, especially those ones who wanted Erik ten Hag to stay that one season, especially the ones who had all the faith in Ineos. I think we all deserve to witness this all season, even if it means us getting relegated. I wouldn't be down with Amarin getting sacked. I actually want him to stay. Let him stay. Let him absolutely ruin the club. Let it go down to fucking horrible shit. Let us fall down by the fucking league table and eventually get relegated. I would fucking love that if we got relegated. I would love it so much if we got relegated. That would be the wake-up call that I think a lot of fans needed, because some fans thought because we bought in Buemo, Cunha and Sesko that we were going to finish in the top 4. Huh? How? With that midfield? With that midfield, we were going to finish top 4. With that lack of wing-backs? How are we going to do that? So I'm glad now I've been proven somewhat right. And now, here we are. Here we bloody are. Continuing on about here we bloody are. Amarin's comments after the game as well. Not the greatest, isn't it? Amarin's comments after the game, not the greatest. The first one, today we didn't play our football. We must play our football, not the opponents. Isn't that your job, bro? Isn't that your job to impose your football on the team and get your team to impose your brand of football on other teams? Are you talking to us or are you talking to yourself? Who knows? The other one, it's always the same. When we win, it's not the system. When we lose, it's the system. The funny thing is about it is that nobody said the victory over Chelsea was based on the system. If anything, the victory over Chelsea was mostly based on the fucking red card. That red card was the main reason why we won that game. I don't think we win that game with that red card. And when it went to fucking 10-10, you saw how the game went. You saw how the game went when it went to 10-10. We were looking very, very shaky. So to sit there and take some sort of pleasure, some sort of pride in that Chelsea game is fucking crazy, bro. Absolutely crazy, the ego of this guy. And again, an ego for nothing, really. Where's the ego coming from? It's almost like an ego for nothing. Like, he has no right to feel this egotistical when he's not achieved zero at the club. He's achieved quite not that much else also in football in general. But we're playing horribly. We're probably going to be finishing in the bottom half of the table again this season. I don't know why he feels so confident. I really don't. It's really, really bizarre. Another quote from Ruben Amorim. I'm not here to protect the players, which is weird because that's what you should do as a manager, right? You should be protecting your players all the time. But he doesn't protect these players because he doesn't want to put himself under the microscope again. He doesn't want to throw himself in front of the train again. He doesn't want to remind people that he's doing badly. So I'm not here to protect my players. Okay, cool. I'm sure the players are going to be happy to hear that. I try to do what's best for the club and the team. I see them in training. I sometimes feel they're not the same when things get tough. That's the pressure of this club. But why are you not the same as well? Okay, the players are not doing the same thing, but why are you not the same? Why just on the players the whole time? I just think about, he says here, what's best to win the match. I'm not trying to protect the players or myself. I'm trying to win the next match and create momentum. I try to be clear-headed and doing my analysis. And today we played the Brentford match. Well, that's your fault, isn't it? That's your fault that we played the Brentford match. It's the players' fault too. But we had 1 week to prepare for this game, and it didn't look like we prepared for this game for 1 week. We did not come out the blocks starting hard. We didn't really. Another one. Ruben Amrin says, I cannot tell you more than what I say before when I lose a game. It depends on our next game. Let's try to win the next game and improve to certain things. Let's try to win the next game. Let's just try and win a game. Forget the next game. Let's try and win a game. And obviously some comments there from Cunha too. Forget about him. And yeah, man. Just a horrible state of affairs. Big up Alice on Twitter who says the following. Amrin at United, 32 points in 35 games. That's relegation form. 21 games lost in less than a year. 21. That's the thing, like, even if you were showing something, right? Even if we were playing champagne football, there could be the argument that he still doesn't deserve time. If we were playing champagne football and we were losing games, you could still argue he doesn't deserve time. Because losing 21 games is just unacceptable. West Ham have picked up more points than Man United since Amrin came in, and they just sacked Patta. Okay. Never won back-to-back Premier League games. That already is a fucking shocker. Still refuses to adapt or change despite 35 game sample size, which shows system is not wrong. I don't give a fuck about the system thing. Just figure it out, bro. I don't care what system he plays. 1 at the back, zero at the back. Figure it out. I'm not in this whole system thing, because the system thing is almost like absolving him for blame too, because it's telling us, oh yeah, it's not his fault, it's the system's fault, or it's kind of making you seem like the team is better than what they are. If the system is better, then we can play better. No. Just figure it out. The players were a disgrace today. Some of their decisions let down Amrin. The lack of intensity for the players playing 1 game a week is worrying, but that also does not change the fact that Amrin's system decisions and making and choices is also wrong at the moment. Both players and managers can be at fault. Yeah, but I think the manager more so. And the really sad thing about the 1 game a week, I was one of those people who said we needed to play 1 game a week. We needed to not be in Europe for the managers to have more time on a training ground. Now, I don't believe we should be in Europe anyway, because we're going to get battered. I think some fans just want to be in Europe for bragging rights, which is fucking weird. I believe in winning competitions. I don't believe in participating in trophies or in cups just for the sake of participation, just for bragging rights. I think we should be in it to fucking win it. And we're not going to win the Europa League anytime soon. We're not going to win Champions League anytime soon. So just being in those competitions doesn't make sense. But it is quite worrying how little we are seeing from these players who've been training all week. There's really nothing. You're not seeing jack shit. And that's really, really worrying. And then, yeah, man, here we are. Here we bloody are. And in another tweet here, somebody posted on Touchline T, it says Ruben Amorim has now conceded 75 goals in 49 games as manager. That's an incredibly high statistic, isn't it? 75 in 49. The other day, Harry Kane broke the fucking 100 goal record, right? In less games. I think he got 100 goals for Bayern Munich in like 103, 102 games or something. And he's nearly there. He nearly conceded 100 goals in 49 games. We're not defensively solid. We don't score enough goals. We don't win enough games. The writing's on the wall here, man. He has to go. At some point, he has to go. But I would prefer it if he stayed, so that we can all be punished, and so that we could get relegated. And then maybe our relegation will spell the end of the Glazer rule. Maybe our relegation will spell the end of the Glazer rule. But knowing us, it probably won't. Knowing us and knowing how unlucky we are, we'll get relegated, and the Glazers will still end up staying. You know, that's how fucking filthy unlucky that we are when it comes to that sort of stuff. But let's wait and see. Talking about waiting and seeing, have you guys heard the comments from the CEO of Live Nation? The CEO of Live Nation said that concert tickets are underpriced. They don't charge enough for concert tickets in relative to like sporting events and stuff. So let's click and see the Live Nation CEOs talking absolute fucking shit and being very detached from reality. What an insane.
For you, music is a better business though than selling tickets for sports, I assume.
Yes, 100%. Yeah. I mean, I think music has been underappreciated. You know, I always joke, sports It's like a badge of honor to spend 70 grand for a Knicks courtside.
I love the noise from the crowd, by the way. He doesn't even hear that, by the way. You hear the noise from the crowd, like, what? It's a badge of honor to spend 70 grand at a Knicks game. And you hear people in the crowd saying, huh? Like, ugh. Like someone made a sound. But he's so fucking detached from reality. He's so much living in his own bubble. He didn't even notice or hear it. He just kept on with his fucking quote unquote joke. But somebody in the crowd was definitely like, what? 70 grand on Knicks tickets?
Beat me up if we charge 800 for Beyonce, right? So it's a real, we have a lot of runway left, right? So when you read about the ticket prices going up, it's still, average concert price is $72. Try going to a Laker game for that, and there's 80 of them or whatever the hell. So the concert is underpriced, has been for a long time.
I don't know, is that the same guy that actually owns the Knicks? I'm not too sure if that's the same guy. Because there's an owner for the Knicks that the Knicks hate, that the Knicks fans hate. And he also has his own band. He's some billionaire guy. That might be the same guy. So it makes sense why he'd say that, because people hate him anyway. And he sounds like super delusional. But could you imagine how insane that is to say that concert tickets are actually underpriced compared to sporting events? If anything, the reality of it is that sporting events are overpriced for what they are. They should be the same as concert tickets. I checked the other day, especially when it comes to, like, you know, if you're, unfortunately, unless you're in Europe, you pay high price for everything. I checked the other day for some games to watch in Europe and stuff, right, for some other teams. And I saw games in Germany, games in France, Spain, Italy, Premier League games at the top level, right? Serie A, La Liga, Ligue 1, 30 euros. 30 euros. It was the most I saw for most people I was checking out. Some were 50 if you pick a seating section. But a lot of people like to go standing. Reason why, because I follow that Twitter account on Football Scran, where they basically post all the food that you can fucking eat at all these places. I thought, you know what? It'll be a great time now, especially with the United being so shit. So maybe go watch some games abroad and obviously get some food as well and go to like a cool location, innit? And go check out some cool teams. So there are some people, there are some teams out there. There are some clubs out there in Europe where you can legitimately, especially if you get like a Ryanair flight or whatever, EasyJet flight, you could probably, if you wanted to, and again, you have to be a soldier to do this. It's not going to be easy. But if you didn't want to stay over and you just went to watch a game, go in the morning and come back in the evening, you could probably go to a place like Stuttgart. You could probably go to a place like Marseille and go watch them play from London. For the same price that it will cost for you to go watch a team play here. You could pay you have the plane ticket, the fucking cab from the fucking airport to the stadium, the fucking food, the drinks, everything could probably come out at the same price as it would do watching a game at West Ham or something. You know, let alone a club like United, where I don't think you could even buy tickets on a day because most of them are sold to fucking season ticket holders and shit. So if anything, sporting event tickets are very overpriced, especially when it comes to Premier League football in the UK. It's fucking crazy how much money they charge. It's so fucking dumb. The amount of money, especially from season tickets to ticket prices, is crazy. But concert tickets are also overpriced for what they are, because, you know, having to pay like 100 quid to see like a decent artist is just too much. Especially if you're a fan of them and you've got kids to look after, you have to pay for the babysitter, pay for parking, pay for food. The food in the stadiums is exorbitantly fucking overpriced. Then the artist is trying to make some money with merch. You want to support them, but then the merch is also overpriced because they don't make much money on the streaming. It's all really a trickle down from the lack of money artists make from streaming, that the situation is where it is. And now the record labels are so greedy because they make all the money from the streams, they make all the money from the artists, but now they're trying to get in on the live shows. Now the fucking streaming people, the record companies, are trying to take a bite of the live show money, which is why he's saying all this is saying. But to say that the concert tickets are underpriced is fucking crazy. They should be lowered so that more people go to shows, so that more artists can perform in front of more people, so that artists can get discovered by more people. Like I'm sure some of you guys are the same. Like in the past, I feel like I used to go to way more fucking concerts. Yes, you get older and shit, but I feel like I used to go to way more concerts just on the whim. On the whim, I'd be browsing Dice, see a gig, and just attend it. Nowadays, you have to plan it ahead of time. You have to fucking sit down in the queue, get alerts, have an O2 chip, all this malarkey, buy a ticket way in advance. It's just horrible because obviously you can't spontaneously buy it because the money is so much. So I think what he's saying here is absolute gobbledygook. But it also goes to show you just how detached from reality some of these top executives are from the regular person, because most of these events you want regular people to go to. You don't want a whole stadium full of people paying 70 grand for Laker tickets. You want a whole stadium, an arena full of people paying $100 for the tickets, $50 for the tickets to see their favorite team. You want to see more people paying $20 for a ticket, $10 for a ticket to see their favorite artist, so you can fill out the stadiums, so these artists can perform in front of a live audience and shit. Like, that's really important too. Instead of just selling or prioritizing VIP experiences, guests, like, it's a nonsense. It's a nonsense. This guy's talking absolute shit. I'm not surprised though, because again, you know, CEO guy of fucking of Live Nation. It makes complete sense. Sorry, it makes complete sense, but he's completely talking shit there. Completely talking shit there. Talking about people talking shit. There's this video going somewhat viral of Mariah the Scientist performing at Live Global Citizen Festival, and God almighty, girl, I feel bad for her because I like her albums. I think she makes very good R&B music for me personally. I think she's kind of underrated as an artist. Maybe her relationships with Young Thug and stuff are the things that's more prominent, or even how she looks, but people don't really talk about her music. I don't feel too tough. But Jesus Christ, man. Her live is not it. And I really feel bad for her. But I'm also wondering why she's even performing live this way. If your voice sounds the way it does here in this clip, I don't know why you'd bother performing live. You should perform live with like auto-tune. You shouldn't be trying to sing into the mic to prove everybody that you can sing, because you obviously can't to that level. Just put auto-tune on your voice and fucking let it be what it be. But this singing that she's doing now, Mariah the Scientist, is not great. So for the first song to come in, wait for the first note to come in. Don't get me wrong, she looks fucking incredible. She's got the same... She's wearing a version of what she wore on the album cover. She's like one of those little army figurines. So it's a really cool like kind of design she's got going on there. But the voice is not it. Oh no, girl. You heard that? She sounds like me in the shower. Is that echo? No, I think that's echo. But I say, does she have auto-tune in her voice? I don't think that's auto-tune. I think that's echo. But it sounds garbage, bro. It's so bad. Fucking hell. Horrendous, man. And you know what's really funny? I love when I think when singers take sometimes, obviously maybe the volume is too high, but I feel like sometimes when they remove their in-ear monitors, it's mostly because they don't like what they hear, you know? They're hearing themselves back and it's like, oh, you know? It doesn't sound too good. But you should really keep it in so you can hear what you actually sound like instead of taking it out. But bless her, man. She sounds horrendous. And this is just like one of those things. It's a reoccurring thing when it comes to like R&B singers nowadays. Most of them can't really sing live anyway, especially the newer generation ones. It's all about singing well on an album, which I guess is one thing. But I think if you're gonna do live shows, at least perform with auto-tune. Just give your fans. Yes, it's not gonna be the real thing. Even go as far as lip syncing. Fuck it, man. Just lip sync and look incredible on the stage. Create like a moment visually. But you don't need to do the whole like, oh, I'm going to prove everybody wrong and sing on stage. No. Do you guys remember back in the day, this is what nearly curtailed or derailed, not Rihanna. Yeah, Rihanna's career and Cassie's career. I remember particularly there were these two performances that Rihanna and Cassie did. I think some people, if you know about music, you'll know what I'm talking about. The Cassie one, I think, was on some show, some TV show. There were two performances in particular that they did where they tried to perform live on stage and sing, and it obviously didn't go well. And those performances were like, they kind of made reverberations around. I don't think even social media existed back then, but they kind of spread across the internet. Everyone was like, oh my God, these girls can't sing. And it nearly ruined their careers. It honestly nearly ruined both of their careers. And I think sometimes these girls who like can only sing well in the studio with auto-tune and shit, they should just stick to that. There's nothing wrong with it. People like what you make music-wise. They like your artistry. So create a moment when you're going on stage, do something. But this whole like trying to sing thing, nah, not it. It's not it. I think it's not it. I think it's not it. But big up her for trying though. Big up her for trying. Big up her for fucking trying. Moving on, we've also got some sad news here. I reported on this on the random show the other day. I did report on this on the random show the other day, but this is incredibly sad news about my idol, my king, my lord, my savior, my North Star. Elon Musk and has been named in the latest Epstein files release. Well, Elon Musk and Prince Andrews, but Elon Musk has been named in the latest Epstein files release. Fucking wild, isn't it? Absolutely wild. That after all of that fucking, you know, back and forth, after all that drama online, after Elon accusing Trump of being on the Epstein list, and that's the reason why he's not releasing it, almost implying like Trump is a PDF and a sex trafficker and all this malarkey. It turns out Elon's the one on the list. Trump's name so far hasn't come on the list. We've seen Trump's name on the birthday card. We've seen Trump's name on the notes, but we so far haven't seen Trump's name on the list. Yeah, so the person that he's pointing the finger at isn't on there, but he's on there. This kind of goes to show sometimes you shouldn't point a finger. Or what's that Bible quote about? Don't, you know, take out the log from your eye before you point out on somebody else's eye on shit. And obviously the don't throw stones at glass houses type of thing. I'm going to end with the cliches and stuff there. But still, this is fucking heartbreaking. Heartbreaking news. Just for the sake of correction, Elon has categorically denied that this is true. He kind of gave the impression on Twitter that he thinks this is like irresponsible reporting. He says in his defense, he was saying that, what did he say? He said that Epstein inquired to get him to meet him, but in the end, Elon didn't. So he said that he wanted me to meet him, but I didn't meet him. He kind of refused, which I don't think that, I don't know what that means, what that says, if you're on his radar in that way. I don't think somebody puts you down for a prospective meet without maybe first contacting you, you know? Because he's trying to make it seem like Epstein was the one that wanted to meet him, right? Jeffrey Epstein wanted to meet him. He turned him down. But I don't think you write somebody's name down in the calendar on a particular date because you're hoping they meet you. You write their name on a calendar on a particular date because you've agreed that you're going to meet on that particular date, or you've maybe have a tentative agreement. So I don't believe his version of events. Either way, it's pretty damning, pretty damning. And, you know, again, just goes to show you this Jeffrey Epstein thing, man, like, it's never going away, innit? It really is never going away. And the reality of it is that so many high-ranking people are implicated in this. So many high-ranking people are implicated in this, really, if you think about it. It seems like he had these tentacles in every part of society, in every part of business, in every part of culture. And, yeah, man, people are scared, which again makes you believe the conspiracy theory is that he definitely was murdered, because the amount of people that would rather not have their name associated with him, you think have all the reason, have all the motive to not want him to be around, you know? Not that they did it, but you know what I mean. Let's read the article here. It says, Coach of Sky News, Elon Musk has appeared in the files related to Jeffrey Epstein, with a reference made in the two words in the world's richest man potentially visiting the pedophile island. The Duke of York is also named as a passenger on the sex offender's private jet in documents released by Democrats in the House of Oversight Committee in the US. By the way, you have to be a little bit pissed, right? You have to be a little bit pissed. You have to be a little bit pissed if you're, what's his face? If you're Elon, because Elon just reunited or just got caught again with Trump at Charlie Kirk's memorial. And you would have thought you back in the good graces, but then boom, they dropped this, you know? It almost feels like they did it on purpose to kind of remind you where you're at type of thing. But yeah, kind of a crazy situation. Let's continue and read on here. They showed Musk as a potential visitor to the Epstein Island, Little St. James, on the 6th of December 2014, 6 years after Epstein became listed as a sex offender. His name appears on what appears to be Epstein's daily schedule, with the entry reading, reminder, Elon to island December 6th. Is this still happening? So again, that doesn't sound like somebody that just randomly wanted to meet you. That's not like somebody that had an agreement to meet you. Obviously it changed, but you know, I think Elon is maybe lying about how his name appeared on that list. I'm not gonna lie. But you can understand why, by the way. You can understand why he's lying, but I think there's a lie there. Musk issued a broad denial on Friday as he responded to another account post on the subject saying this is false, without elaborating. No, I think he did elaborate. I'm pretty sure he did elaborate. I'm pretty sure Elon did elaborate. I'm pretty sure. Let's see. I'm pretty sure he did elaborate. He said something like, oh, he wanted to meet me, but I didn't meet him or something like that. I'm pretty sure he elaborated. Let's see. Let me go through to share. I'm pretty sure he did elaborate. I'm pretty sure he did. Give me a break. Exactly 100% true. Definitely not. Mind virus. Exactly. Where is he? Where is he? He definitely did elaborate on it. I saw him say something. Where's my guy? What did you say? How did you defend yourself, brother? Because this is real bad, bro. This is real bad. Download the new Grok app. Yes, insane. Grok it. Shame. Yeah, there we go. Here's his reply. Shame on Sky News for utterly misleading headline. Anyone pushing this false narrative deserves complete contempt. Epstein tried to get me to go to his island, and I refused. All caps. Yet they named me even before Prince Andrew, who did visit. That's a good point, to be fair. And Prince Andrew did visit, and his name is second, but Elon's name is first, who didn't visit. And then there's a correction here, courtesy of X. It says context needed. With both names appears, the circumstances are vastly different. Elon's names appeared in possible schedule items and question only. Prince Andrew appears on Epstein's flight logs and settled the related civil case regarding sexual misconduct. By the way, only a royal, innit? Only somebody with the money and the name recognition of a Prince Andrew could settle a case of pedophile, of PDF acts, innit? Or something relating to sexual exploitation, harassment and shit, with no prison time. It's absolutely incredible how he's not in prison, bro. You know? Prince Andrew's link to Epstein and all the dirty shit he was doing is fairly obvious. It's fairly clear to see. But for some reason, Prince Andrew is still walking around this earth now. He's still walking around as a free man. No consequences whatsoever. Pretty wild when you think about it. Anyway, go back to the article. In June, Musk claimed that Donald Trump appeared in the files relating to the disgraced financier and alleged his administration was concealing the information about the US president's association with Epstein. Imagine, look at the karma, man. Look at the karma. You accuse somebody else and then your name is actually on the list. Or as a potential guest, let's say. He gave no evidence for the claim, which he made on X and later appeared to have deleted the post. Sky News has approached Musk for comment. And there's obviously the famous clip of Trump and Epstein back in the day. Documents show Prince Andrew is listed as a passenger on the flight from Teterboro, New Jersey to Palm Beach on 12th of May 2000. He's named alongside Epstein, his then girlfriend Ghislaine Maxwell, who is now convicted sex trafficker, and two names that have been redacted. Why did they redact those two names? Why did they redact those two names? Why are those two names redacted? Honestly, the Epstein list, we're never going to get it in full, innit? We're always going to get redacted partial files. We're never going to get that shit in full, ever. There's just too many powerful people implicated in this. They're never going to release it. There's Prince Andrew. Again, how is he still alive? How is he not alive, but how is he still a free man? How is he still a free man? It's utterly preposterous, isn't it? This guy is pretty, you know, there's strong evidence to suggest that he's done some crazy shit. And he's still out here free. Details of the Dukes traveling on Epstein's jet have previously been heard in court at Maxwell's trial. One of her accusers, who was 14 at the time, called that she had traveled on a flight with Andrew. The Duke strenuously denies any wrongdoing. In addition, Musk and the Duke, the records also show he was in contact with Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates, PayPal founder Peter Thiel, and Steve Bannon, who was Trump's chief strategist during this first term. So yeah. That now we know why Bill Gates' wife divorced him. I think most people know that most likely she heard, whatever came up. Maybe she knows more than what we know about Bill Gates' connection with Jeffrey Epstein, and she just couldn't do it anymore. And now she's made it her mission to give away as much of the money that she made with Bill Gates as possible. That's how much it's kind of stained. You know what I mean? So imagine what she must know, because I feel like every time I see her name, I think it's Melinda Gates. Whenever she's in the news, she's giving away hundreds of millions of fucking dollars. It must be that she just feels that the money is tainted and at least should go to people that actually need it as opposed to her. And here's some of the flight logs. You can see there, Epstein's name, 2 names obviously redacted, bodyguard, and then you've got here on the list, the Saturday is 6th of December. It says Zorro, and it says it right there, Gregory Riches, and it also says Elon Musk on Island December 6th. Fucking hell. Crazy situation, isn't it? Lunch here with Peter Thiel on November 27, 2017. But it's and they redacted someone's name here. Imagine how powerful you have to be to get your name redacted, man. Imagine how powerful, how rich you'd have to be to get your name redacted from an Epstein list. You have to have some money behind you, man, some power behind you to get your name redacted in full. The names of the victims' records are redacted, and the committee said they plan to release more files once they are redacted as well. The release comes days after the email surfaced from Sarah, Duchess of York, to Epstein, in which she apologized to him for disowning him in the media. In the letter, the Duchess, Prince Andrew's ex-wife, called the sex offender a supreme friend. Jesus Christ. Duchess of York, man. Horrendous lady. Her spokesperson said the message was written because she was threatened to sue her for defamation. Yeah, sure. The emergence of the email led to Duchess being dropped by the number of charities she had been patron of. Good. Earlier this month, Peter Mandelson, the British ambassador for the US, was sacked by Keir Starmer after it was discovered that he had also sent messages to Epstein, calling him my best pal, after he was jailed. After he was jailed, by the way. After he was jailed waiting sex trafficking charges. Epstein was found dead in his cell at federal jail in Manhattan on August 2019, sorry. So yeah, Elon. Elon. You know, I'm a big fan of the guy, but it's looking kind of dicey. It's looking kind of dicey. Moving on. Let's talk a little bit about this. Free the rapper Chino. Free the UK rapper Chino. Look at this headline. UK pick up the music connoisseur. UK rapper Chino, along with 2 other NHS workers, have been jailed for a combined total of 10 years for faking 1,648 COVID jab records. They allegedly made £412,000 selling proof of 847 people so that they could dodge lockdown rules and travel. The judge said that it was a serious offence during the national crisis. Chino received 4 years and 4 months. This is a piss take, isn't it? This goes to show you just how different the courts are, depending on what color skin you are, depending on what you are in terms of social class. Because COVID around the world, especially in the UK, but COVID around the world was really the opportunity for a lot of people in higher positions to really scam. The amount of scams that were going on, the amount of fraud that was going on during COVID, from PPE, from records and shit, from stocking of fucking medical supplies, other bits and pieces. That was the time. So many people have done so many frauds regarding COVID. None of those high-ranking, upper class, middle class people I've seen have got jailed. I've not seen a single upper class, middle class person, politician who was involved in COVID scams get sent to jail. None. I've not seen a single one. But a rapper who gained some illegal gains from, taking advantage of the position he had, because I'm assuming most likely the Chino guy might have worked in NHS, which is, to be fair, it's a clever hustle. Because if you remember correctly, during COVID, there was a lockdown. And when the lockdown got eased, you had to have a COVID passport, basically a little card you got from the NHS or from a GP that certified that you've been vaccinated, that you could then use to go and travel. And of course, myself included, I only got the fucking jab to travel in the first place because I was locked in at home all the time. You're fucking feeling fucking crazy and you wanted to go out and see the world or just go and do normal things. So people were willing, I would imagine, to also spend money to get the fucking card if they didn't agree with getting the jab, which I also kind of think was a good hustle too, because I still sit here thinking I regret getting that fucking jab as well and fucking agreeing to that sort of shit. But yeah, they cute, like that's an actual smart hustle. Now, to be fair to the upper middle class people, and to call out my people, the blacks, maybe Chino made it a bit bait for himself because he's a rapper. And in this video too, like, you don't really see many people, in my opinion, you don't really see a lot of rappers in the UK showing money. And I'm not too sure if it's done because we're just not that country. We're not like America where people have like money phones and shit. Or if it's just a way to kind of keep prying eyes away from you, because you don't want to be known as a guy that has like stacks of money in his hand, because some jackboy might come up to you and just try and rob you and shit. You know what I mean? So maybe that's what's going on. But when I remember when I saw this video, you know, when I saw him kind of sitting on the table with all the stacks of cash in his hand, the first thing that I thought when I saw this was like, oh, brother, man, this is going to get you hammed up. I'm pretty sure when I saw this, let me actually play the clip here. There's a clip here, but I'm pretty sure when I saw this, my initial feeling was like, brother, you shouldn't have had those things in your hands, bro. This is going to get you hammed up. This is definitely going to get you hammed up. And it eventually did end up getting him hammed up, you know, because maybe that brought a target to his head, because the police have, you know, access to banking records, access to fucking NI numbers and shit. And if you're on a video, right, holding up that amount of stacks of cash, but then you're noted down on the fucking, you know, tax thing as you're receiving benefits or universal credit, or like, I don't know, you haven't worked in ages, but then you have these stacks of money, it's just not going to make any sense. People are going to obviously start investigating and figuring out what's going on, especially if you've got like huge gaps of employment on your fucking CV. So I'm curious to know if all the flexing that he did with the cash is what got him in trouble. Because like I said before, you don't even see people like, I don't know, I don't feel like I see many clips of even someone like a Central C, a Skepta with stacks of money, or Dave, you know what I mean? And they're like legit art. You don't really see those guys doing it. So I think maybe this guy did too much. You know, that's what I think. I think maybe this guy did too much and it ended up kind of biting him in the ass. But I still think it's out of order, because again, yeah, British white people and shit, they're able to get away with this easily, but my man can't. Let's actually read the article regarding it. It says NHS worker made 412,000 with counterfeit COVID vaccine certificates. Let's actually read it here. It says 3 NHS workers made 412,000 during their lockdown by faking COVID vaccination certificates for more than 800 paying customers. By the way, 412 is only the ones that they were able to figure out. I think they must have made more. There's no way they only made 412. 412 between 3 people ain't that much money. I think they only figured out that amount they were able to account for. They must have made way more than that. Hakeem, because again, I think the same in the US. There was a bunch of people here in the UK who were very strongly against the COVID vaccine. So I understand why it went the way it went. Hakeem Walters, 29, Raqibul Islam, 31, and Mohammed Ahmed, 27, were employed at NHS administrators as a vaccine centre set up at Westfield Shopping Centre in Stratford, London. They falsified vaccine records for 847 people so they could escape lockdown restrictions and travel abroad, Southwark Court heard. Catherine Drummond, prosecuting, said they ultimately made profits at the expense of the wider public, which everyone did, by the way. Loads of fucking people did that as well. There's actually a documentary now at the moment, I think on the BBC, that kind of talks about the amount of people that made a lot of money. I think it's called like Lockdown or something. I think it's called, let me see, a TV series. It's a TV review, Guardian. I think it's called Lockdown. Let me see if I can find it. There's a show on at the moment. I think I need to watch it actually. I think it's called, the show is called The COVID Contracts. Follow the Money. Yeah, it's a documentary that essentially uncovers all that sort of shit. So I'm assuming a lot of people in that documentary won't just look like Chino. So these motherfuckers, man, like Chino gets imprisoned for 4 years. The rest of them don't get no prison time whatsoever. Probably because they could afford better lawyers, I'm assuming. But still, it's so unfair how you can. That's why you see how crazy the situations where people say, oh yeah, life is just the same for everybody else. It's not the same for everyone, bro. Honestly. We have to work 10 times harder when it comes to legal things. If you're an immigrant, if you're not white, you have to work 10 times harder in the legal way. And you also have to make sure you don't get caught if you do fraud, because your punishment won't be the same as the punishment as the white person. That's for sure. That enabled those 847 people to enjoy additional freedoms in times of lockdowns, freedoms reserved for those vaccinated against COVID. Why don't you arrest those people too then, motherfuckers? Fake vaccine records. The defendants charged people £250 each for fake vaccine records. So they must have been, were they paper things then? Because I remember when you go, oh yeah, maybe it's official stamp as well, if they work in the NHS. Islam had access to national immunization vaccination system, the court heard. Mr. Islam sold his confidential login details to Ahmed for 1,000. The prosecutors for £1,000. So everyone was involved in the scam. So the guy that works for the NHS sold his login to the scammers, and then the scammers used that login to sell the fake records. Cool. The prosecutors told the courts that Islam began to work as a band-free administrator and clerical bank worker for the vaccine project in June 2021. Yo, I wasn't in. People were making money and doing hustles back then, innit? I should have taken advantage of that time. There was so much things going on in that confusion. People took advantage for sure. Every single vaccine record associated with the login was false. He began his work at NHS at the time of the crisis. He obtained wide access. He sold wider access for £1,000. He never created any true honest vaccinations. Once the entries were submitted to NHS COVID app, it showed people were fully vaccinated. That would enable them to travel, attend certain venues, apply for jobs that restrictions were in place. The defendants all admitted conspiracy to commit fraud by false representation and conspiracy to cause computer to harm or perform a intent. They hacked it. Okay. Ahmed and Walters were both jailed for 4 years and 4 months. Islam was jailed for 1 year and 7 months. So selling the login for £1,000 got him 1 year in prison. Jesus Christ. I guess he'll come out in half the time on good behavior and shit, especially with most prisons being overcrowded. But god damn it, man. A year for £1,000 is not ideal, isn't it? Not ideal. Sentencing Judge Sally Ann Hiles said between August 17th and December 13, 2021, you conspired to hack the NHS computer system to create false COVID vaccination records. You did so to make the financial gain for yourselves. The evidence indicates that these conspirators involved more than just you three. There are serious offenses committed at the pandemic. Well, get those other guys then, innit? Why are you just only getting me? The risk to the public health is self-evident. The harm was not only individual victim, it was also that can't be identified the damage. Okay, so I guess they're basically saying them doing what they did could have caused inadvertently the deaths of many people, because those people that they said got vaccinated didn't get vaccinated, and they could have had COVID, they could have spread it, blah, 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 blah. But that's a little bit of a reach. That's a bit of a reach in my opinion. It continues. 4 years on, it's too easy to forget how important the vaccine scheme was in preventing the deaths. People no different from your parents who are all have health issues. So yeah, they're all in prison, man. Free Chino and the gang. Honestly, if others can fraud and get away with it, why can't we fraud and get away with it? This is so fucking unfair. Free fucking Chino. The trio charged $250 for the fake vaccines. That's the whole gang, yeah. Ahmed Mohammed, Rukibul Islam, and Hakeem Walters, 29. Free Hakeem, man. Freedom. Islam had access to the National Immunization Center. Which one's Islam? That one there in the middle. Damn. Mr. Drummond added Islam began by free brand worker. Every single vaccine record was fake. Yeah, free Chino, man. Free fucking Chino. Free fucking Chino. If the whites can scam, why can't we? If the whites can scam, why can't we? Free Chino, free Chino, free Chino, free fucking Chino. Another person who's in prison now, who probably shouldn't be free, unfortunately, because he got caught with some drogas. Nines pleads guilty at Kingston Crown Court to cannabis supply and possessions to charges. He also pleaded guilty to breaching Serious Crime Act. He was arrested in Heathrow Airport in November 2023. The same time, a video went viral of him in handcuffs. Nine's bail was being refused, and he'll be remanded. He's in jail now. He'll be remanded until sentencing next month. He could face quite some time behind bars. Nines, man, world, UK famous, at least, I'll say somewhat world famous UK rapper, was arrested because basically he was trying to, smuggling, sell some of that drug, some of that cannabis, some of that marijuana. He got caught with a lot of it as well, by the way. I think it was a huge amount. And I guess he's now basically pled guilty. I'm assuming to try and get his sentence lowered, because he's obviously acknowledged his crimes. But considering the amount of times he's been arrested prior, considering his record, considering the offense, he's probably going to get a lot of time. Again, which is really unfair, really kind of sad. No, I wouldn't say unfair, but it's unfortunate because he's already got a way out. He's a, world famous fucking artist. He doesn't need to be doing this. So it makes you wonder, does he just love the game more? Does he just love being a drug dealer, love being a street dude way more than he does love doing music? Or was he doing it because the music wasn't paying enough? Because he did retire, didn't he? He said he retired from music one time. So maybe did he retire from music because he didn't like the limelight? he didn't enjoy the attention, or did he retire from music because it just wasn't worth the money? And he'd rather just sell drugs and shit and do it that way. Either way, fucking horrendous. I still can't imagine how gut-wrenching it must feel, how embarrassing it must feel to get marched through an airport or to get arrested at an airport. You're on your way to go on holiday. Maybe he was on the run. Maybe he was trying to escape. I don't know. You get arrested. You get taken off your flight. They grab your luggage. And then they fucking walk you through the entirety of the airport in handcuffs. Tough shit, man. Tough shit. And that's probably the last time you've ever seen the outside world, you know? Was when you left that the airport and into a fucking police van back to the fucking police station. Absolutely horrifying. But yeah, 3-9 same way, 3-9 same way, 3 motherfucking 9s same fucking way. Big up him. Let's move on quickly and let's talk a little bit again about Gucci Spring 2026 ready to wear, courtesy of Demna, former designer Balenciaga. Debuted the other day. We got like a soft launch, kind of, right? A little peekaboo, a little taster of his collection there. I didn't actually get a chance to read the blurb, so big up the fucking editor here, or the reviewer. Was it Luke Leach? Let's see what Luke Leach wrote, because I did check some of the pieces, but I want to actually see what did Luke say about the collection. So let me actually see if I can grab it here and read a bit of it, so I understand what I'm looking at and what I'm seeing. So this is courtesy of Vogue Runway, Gucci Spring 2026, ready to wear. It says the following: the waiting is over. Demna's new Gucci is here, and true to its appetite for disruption, it arrived by surprise, dropping via a lookbook 36 hours ahead of the house scheduled film format renowned presentation tomorrow evening. I didn't like that, to be fair. I wanted a runway show. I wanted a full runway show. I wanted to see what aesthetic he was going to go for. I wanted to see what the music was going to be like. I wanted to see the front row. I wanted to see the fabrics moving and shit. I wanted to see a fucking runway show, but I guess we'll get that next season. It says, entitled La Famiglia, the collection is the first primer into the new Demna-defined glamour of the house. Captured by the Los Angeles-based photographer Catherine Opie, it's a series of 37 portraits of characters who epitomize the Gucci-ness of Gucci, as seen by its new artistic director. From Miss Aperitivo in her sequin mini dress to La VIC in her top-to-toe GG monogram, via the Narcisista, whose shirt is unbuttoned almost to the G-buckle, belt in a manner not familiar with fans of the house during the Tom Ford era. This family album applies Demna's sardonic gaze into long establishment codes of the historic new workplace. So if you're wondering, this kind of goes off from or picks up from what he did at Vetements, where he did at Balenciaga, with the stereotypes, the archetypes, right? Being able to take, I don't know, the banker, the security guard, the this, and design from them as a whole uniform, which I love. Obviously people design differently and say they design, you know, under a whole theme, and then they kind of ideate different sort of garments or ideas and outfits through that. But I kind of like taking an archetype and maybe designing for that particular archetype. It seems like it would be the easy thing to do, to be honest, but it also seems like an interesting thing to explore, because you can do little edits, little evolutions and developments on like stuff in it, like I don't know, like jackets and trousers or whatever, and pencil skirts, whatever, depending on who the person is, on their uniform. Opie's very first image was captioned La Archetipo, which shows a newly constructed Gucci trunk, which I'm sure is going to be a big thing going forward. This was the product in which Gucci's earliest success was based, when Gucci, first from working at the Savoy Hotel in London, returned home in Florence in 1921 to set up a luggage maker dedicated to serving the rich and infamous of his time. In the next image, Demna brings the right to his chapter into a story of Guccio, started with a look entitled La Incanzata, or the Furious One, yet its subject, modeled by Maria Carla Boscona, appears more elegant and enraged than a 60s scarlet mid-length coat, gloves, horsebit heels, and Gucci print headscarf worn with a Gucci staple and bamboo bag. By the way, I love the little horsebit details. There's so much horsebit details throughout the whole collection on the trousers and stuff. It's really fucking cool how he's able to take a little horsebit little thing and put it on all different things. I'm sure we'll probably get the horsebit thing on the back of a hat soon. I think we saw it on a belt. The lookbook proceeds to collide more with the Gucci codes and Demna's character studies, which I love, by the way, because he did tell us it's not going to be like that. It's not going to be like Balenciaga at all. And what we're getting so far is like Demna's interpretation of Gucci through the lens of Tom Ford, you know, which I really love, to be fair. No one really expected that, because Tom Ford's Gucci was very elegant, very opulent, very fancy, very glitzy, very sleek, very sexy. And, you know, I don't think anyone would describe Demna as a sexy designer, but he did a good job in this one. The most contemporary characters include La Influencer in oversized lizard, finished brown leather, bomber with a matching skirt, Gucci stripe knit. Oh, okay, it's lizard finish. Okay, I thought it was something else. There's menswear looks entitled Nerd, whose knit shirt is tied with a bowed ribbon. The most established include the La Messineta in her full-length metallic gown, La Contessa in her flora print waisted gown. According to Gucci press note today, this collection and presumably the film that will further showcase it and presentation tomorrow has been conceived to act as a aesthetic base upon which the Demna's vision will be built leading up to his first show in February. Oh, and they said I think all of it's going to be available this week, I think, as well, right? I think some of these clothes are actually going to be available to purchase this week or something. Back in March 2025, the press conference announcing Demna's surprise appointment to the job of in-house CEO Francesca Bellettini, Bellettini, Gucci has two souls, it says. It has a heritage and needs to have its fashionability. However, it's not enough to inject creativity if the product does not stand for the positioning of Gucci. The collection certainly looks unmistakably Gucci, and its OP shuttered lens has been finally collaborated to Demna's disruptive and irreverent settings. We can only wait to see how the collision of the subject and the object develops, and the first indication will come when the collection goes on sale at 10 Gucci stores around the world this week. Fucking incredible. So yeah, it's available already this week in 10 stores. Pretty sick how they did that, to be fair. I'm not mad at that in the slightest. And yeah, so many fucking great looks. So many fucking great looks. The horse bit one's probably my favorite. The leather jackets as well are really cool. Some of the tailoring is really nice. The styling is really awesome too. Reminds me again of, like, you know, early 2000s David Beckham era. I'm actually loving the exposure of the midriff there again. A very sleek way to do these things. The shearling jacket. Oh, that shearling jacket is fucking incredible, by the way. That's a lizard outfit there, right? I didn't know that was lizard. I don't know. I think I thought something else. Maybe I thought snake or something. But yeah, it is more of a lizardy print. But it is faux, isn't it? That's the thing. It's faux leather. Because no one wants to do, like... I wonder when that's going to happen, by the way. I wonder when it's going to be... Because we're in a post-cancel culture world, right? I wonder when if that's going to apply to materials. When we're going to get to a place where brands, fashion houses stop being scared and just start using animal leather again. When's that going to happen? Maybe it's already happening, but when are they going to put it on a runway? Like, no more faux leathers. Like, fuck it. Like, so what endangers? So what it endangers somebody? Let's get an elephant on this fucking Hermes bag. I mean, let's get a snake. Let's get a real snake, a real crocodile shit. Let's do that. But yeah, that's what I thought. I thought it's crocodile, but I guess maybe it's crocodile. Is a crocodile technically a lizard? I'm not too sure. But I thought it was crocodile print when I first saw it. But still, again, look at these coats, man. Look at these coats. The bag. Oh, that's actually cool. I don't mind that. It's like a bigger version of that under the shoulder, over the shoulder, under the armpit clasp sort of like U-shaped bag. And if I'm not mistaken, that could work as a good little DJ bag, a messenger bag, innit? This might be really popular with people. I like that it's also kind of distressed at the bottom there. We've got some little cuts and fades and rips over there as well. That's the fucking strap that goes over it. That could be a really good DJ bag. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you. That could be a really fucking good DJ bag. I ain't mad at that in the slightest. Let's continue. More jackets. That jacket there with the O neck, that's giving me Richard Ashcroft, right, from The Verve. That's very Richard Ashcroft from The Verve, from that music video. I forgot that song, but you know that song where he's walking down the street wearing a jacket that looks like this, to be fair. That's incredible. And that's a smaller version of that bag I just said the other day. Again, and the sneakers too, which I also love. I ain't mad at the sneakers either. We continue on. A few more bits here, more jackets. This is one of my favorites, actually, this see-through joint. This see-through pants, or the translucent, I guess. I don't know, I forgot what that material is actually called. Oh, look at that. That necklace as well is gorgeous. Is that a snake? What is that necklace he's wearing there? I don't know what that necklace is. That necklace is beautiful, though. I think it's like a double-headed snake or something. Not mad at that. Also not mad at the aviators again. Very Tom Ford at Gucci aviators too. Not too mad at that either. Yep, that crop jacket that Alex, what you call it, Alex or whatever Constanti, whatever her name is wearing, is also a fucking a major. Looks like tiger print, but again, get me a real tiger material. Fuck with the fucking faux shit. It looks incredible. The heels there with the gold heel, nothing crazy there. We're not mad at that in the slightest. Oh yeah, this glittery ensemble as well is hard as nails. Let's not even doubt that. This glittery ensemble is fucking delightful. With the vest and the trousers too. Again, that'll be a great DJ outfit, to be fair. That'll be an amazing outfit to wear as a DJ out. Like, that is fucking great, especially with the glasses too. Man wouldn't mind wearing that. Nice coat, tuxedo, dress, more dresses. You got some pants here. Again, Tom Ford Gucci era. I think the Tom Ford Gucci era would have the double G's here, but now we just got a little string here. Very sexy again. Imagine, you know, if you're into that sort of stuff, pull that off with the sandals too. Yep, I ain't mad at that in the slightest. I ain't mad at that one in the slightest. And some more coats, more pants as well. And obviously the standard Demna way of towards the end, you get into more of the evening gowns for the women and shit, which I also love. So yeah, big up Demna, man. I think he killed it. I personally think he did a really good job. Especially opening the shop up with trunks. That wasn't too crazy. And then to add actually some more context to it, big up my guy Fashion Roadman. Has he got any new videos here? Big up Fashion Roadman. Fashion Roadman has produced some really cool little fucking shorts from the actual store, the Gucci store, where they invited a bunch of influencers and people from the fashion scene to come and check out some of the stuff firsthand. And looking at the stuff in detail, woo, it looks incredible. So big up Fashion Roadman for some of these shorts. These are great. So this is the first things. Gucci Spring Summer 2026, crazy details. Let's look at the first bits and pieces. Big up Fashion Roadman.
Okay, so right now we're in Gucci's London flagship store and we are looking at a preview of Demna's first collection at Gucci. As we can see here, these are the typical Demna-isms that we're so used to seeing. At Balenciaga, we would also see the last few looks that he would do would be quite intricate, the details would be nice, and then the other looks are kind of very ready to wear. So when you look here, you can see very intricate details. You look here, look at the sequins.
Look at that up close though. Wow, bro. Look at the sequin detailing, the amount of layers. Was that all done by hand, I'm assuming as well? Look at that. Absolutely incredible. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
This looks like it took a really, really long time to design.
It's almost couture and it's a look, isn't it, in terms of the handy. But I guess couture is made to measure. It's just different, but still. Whew.
So made different like floral patterns with the sequins. So I like that sequin work. And then you have these pieces hanging too. So I can imagine that was like really intricate and took a lot of work. You even have another Demna-ism. This reminds me actually of the Balenciaga hack that Gucci did, where he worked with a floral print. So this is
very, very true. Very, very true. Good little notice there. It looks like exactly the same floral too.
Once again, another reinterpretation that Demna is using of a floral print. So that's really cool to see. This, talking about Demna-isms, I mean, this basically looks like a Demna-ism.
That looks like it could be Gucci, it could be Demna, it could be Balenciaga.
The collection.
Okay, so right now we're in Gucci.
Damn. Let's fast forward a bit. That looks incredible though, doesn't it? Oh, it looks so good, that blue coat.
To do what he's always done. He didn't have loads of time to design this collection. The main collection, reminds me actually of the Balenciaga hack that Gucci did, where he worked with a floral print. So this is once again another reinterpretation that Demna is using of a floral print. So that's really cool to see. This, talking about Demna-isms, I mean, this basically looks like a Demna-ism. Now I know Demna obviously said, and he said this in interviews, that he's not going to do what he's always done. He didn't have loads of time to design this collection. The main collection, the real launch, is in February, but we can start to see even the way it's presented. If you look, it's presented exactly how his amazing Paris exhibition was presented, the sort of retrospective exhibition where things were kind of in like a circular motion and they were putting like really intricate dresses beside each other. So really great to see that back. Also, if you come and look at these details here on this dress, because I think you can't really appreciate these until you come up close.
Wow, 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 wow. Look at that detail. The different colors, the layering, the patterns. Wow.
Look at the sequin work. It's absolutely insane when you come up close. Because I think these things might not be conveyed through, you know, pictures and stuff. That's why it's really important to like go into the stores if you have access to it and see what these things look like. The store will be open until I think the 12th of October. So
yeah, so big up Fashion Roadman. There's another one too. Let's do a couple more from him. Let's do this one, the Gucci emblem, the heritage logo emblem. Let's see this.
Okay, we have to. So one thing about Demna is he's really been looking at the archives. He has been saying this, but I think there are certain nuggets that people aren't seeing. This is a very good example, for example. This is a crest that Demna has really focused on this collection. And this is a man holding 2 pieces of luggage.
So cool. This, again, stuff that you don't see on runway shows. Unfortunately, I feel like the majority of us, myself included anyway, don't really get to see this stuff up close because I don't, you know, I'm not going to go to a Gucci store unless I'm going to buy something just to go and check the stuff out. I know you probably should do that, but, you know, I feel too lame to do such a thing. But you do miss out on a lot of details, you know? You miss out on seeing some of these type of things that really make the difference, that really kind of elevate some of these pieces, but you only get to see it in real life, obviously, if you purchase it. But I love that he still does it because most people won't see this stuff, but he still does it anyway for the ones that do.
Why, you might ask? It's really because Demna wants to focus on the heritage of the brand. It's why in the first collection, the first look was literally a trunk. So if you look at a lot of the other pieces, in a lot of the menswear pieces, you can see once again these crests and different emblems where you see a man holding luggage. You can see on this coat too, it's the same emblem. So there are these like really tiny details and tiny nuggets that people might not notice or might not see, but when you look at the clothing up close, you can see all these different elements of heritage. Continuing talking about the details, here we see Demna using the Gucci tiger motif.
So cool. And I guess that's why we got the tiger on that coat that Alex Constanti, whoever her name is, was wearing. That's why we see that the tiger print. And look at that detail, that tiger emblem there. So it's gorgeous. Hopefully it's some carat of gold too. I doubt it, but it'll be cool.
On some of the pieces, once again, the attention to detail and him just really looking at different elements of heritage and how he can make that interesting with the hardware or, you know, different unique elements on the garment. So one thing about...
Cool, so big up that one, big up him. Let's do a couple more from Fashion Roadman. He's killing it, actually, absolutely killing it. Let's see the accessories here. Sunglasses.
So these are some of the sunglasses from the collection. Not many people are actually talking about these. I think these are insane. First of all, you have the horse bit detail over here.
So cool.
I don't think a lot of people have noticed that.
Also, they're not aviators. They kind of look like aviators in the runway pictures, isn't it? They're not, or the collection pictures or whatever. They're not actually aviator shaped. They're kind of different.
So you've got the horse bit.
They almost look a little bit like the there's a Christian Dior type of glasses from that era too that kind of looks similar. It's almost like a one piece of like, you know, frame. There's no frame, it's just one piece of like thing all over. It kind of reminds me of those. I forgot what the model was.
Detail on both sides. I think that's a really cool cue. And something I think that many people have really been talking about are these Gucci aviators. Why, you might ask? Tom Ford.
Yeah,
if you think
there is aviators. Okay,
your Tom Ford style, it's the leather jacket, it's the aviators. So this is Demna once again referencing kind of Gucci, but kind of making the aviators a bit more exaggerated in shape. So that's something cool that I really noticed from Demna. Also, looking at some more accessories, something that I really noticed in the collection was there were these double G's everywhere, like in chain.
I want that chain. I want those earrings. Oh, so good.
Form, in earring form. And these are actually heavier. They're a lot heavier than it looks, to be honest. So I like that. We like accessories that are heavy because it feels more expensive, even if it might be silver tone.
So true. Exactly. The weight does really dictate how you feel about accessories for some reason. Same thing comes with technology. If the construction is good, even if the fucking product is shit, but if the finish is good and it feels kind of heavy, you're gonna feel like it's more quality. But those chains, that especially that kind of dog collar chain that's got like BDSM techno vibes about it, I'm really for. I love that as well. Let's see something else here. Anything else? Yeah, there we go. Let's see this one. The footwear. Let's see the footwear.
Something I've always appreciated about Demna at Balenciaga is the footwear design. He was always very innovative with the footwear, and already he's brought that to Gucci. He's looked at something very iconic like the horsebit loafer, which is an icon of Gucci, and he's kind of made these sort of square toe flat hybrids. They're kind of like a hybrid between a loafer and a slipper, and even you can see like the slipper designs here, like how the back folds and it pops back up, you know, for comfort when people want to wear it like that. So
cool.
It's really cool. You also have different,
by the way, that's a really cool design, especially at the front as well, that little kind of that slope to make it a bit pointy and stuff.
and iterations without the horse bit, kind of just the Gucci embossed onto the shoes.
And like how there's got zero big sole too, very slow and to the ground, help your feet kind of strengthen up and shit.
He's also brought that idea into some of the heels too, so you can see once again the horse bits here and then a more pointier iteration. And in general, I think already he's giving us some really nice propositions of footwear. What I'm really looking forward to when it comes,
I think those heels are from an era of Tom Ford too. I remember seeing a picture of it somewhere on Twitter.
to his proper debut in February, is what accessories do we get? Because I think that's one of his strong suits, and it's why he sells so well and why he did at Balenciaga. Here once again we have sort of like a proposition of a dirty sneaker.
Oh,
So-
show us that. Get closer on that one, Fashion Roadman. Show us that.
Just playing around with the footwear and kind of seeing
Oh, I like that. Should have brought it close to the camera, man. Show us that.
what they can do. I think this is really cool, to be honest. I think when we think of designers that have been iconic at the brand, let's think of most recently Alessandro Michele, when he came in immediately with those Princeton loafers that had the fur. He was famous for that, and that was all the rage. So I think Demna is definitely someone that can replicate something like that kind of success, but in a different way, using different designs, of course.
So yeah, big up Demna, man. Absolutely killed it. He absolutely killed it. Can't wait to see some of this stuff, and obviously in person. We're really eager to see what he does with the shoes going forward. I'm sure there's going to be a more relaxed, I guess so, right? I'm sure he's going to do a more relaxed general type of a sneaker going forward. I'm interested to see what type of silhouette he'll go for with that. But so far, we've got some good things. And then last thing here I want to talk to you about is regarding the Patta Air Maxes that have just been released, if I'm not mistaken, the official pictures of them. Let's see if I can get these up here before I let you guys leave. Where is it? Where is that fucking picture? It was somewhere around here, wasn't it? Patta. Where are you, Patta? You're not here. Okay, you're not there. Maybe Patta is over here. Okay, let's go there. And then I think we should get the Patta stuff somewhere around here. Alright, there we go. Boom. And then we should also go to Patta and L. There we go. Cool. So, we have the official pictures of the Nike Dn8 from Patta. So Patta are collaborating with Nike on a pair of Air Max Dn8s. The Air Max Dn8 has been a flop, in my opinion, across the board. I think most people, Air Max fans in particular, haven't really resonated or been drawn to them the way that probably Nike hoped. It's a newer model that they hoped would kind of usher in a new era of Air Maxes or get people more excited for new shapes, because, you know, the Air Max range is fairly predicated on people just buying the older shapes, right? The 90s, the 95s, the 98s, the 87s, but no one's really buying whatever new shape they're buying nowadays. They kind of flop for the most part. I don't think there's been one shoe, that new ones that they've kind of sold that have kind of worked for really people in general. So they tried again with the Dn8s, and unfortunately the model itself just isn't that great. So no matter how great the colorways are, no matter how great the collaborations are, they don't seem to be able to hit. I think they did a recent collaboration with K-Vamped that kind of went nowhere. They did a collaboration with another brand. I forgot the name. I think it's a skateboarding brand or something that didn't also do nothing. I don't think so. I didn't really see it get talked about at all on my side of Twitter. Don't get me wrong. I'm on the sneaker Twitter that I'm on is mostly populated or dominated by Americans, and Americans just love basketball trainer retros. They're not really big on the Air Maxes, but still, from what I saw, people had the same thought that I did, that the Dn8 is a horrendous model. Probably one of the worst Air Maxes I've seen in my entire life. They're so fucking ugly. From the air bubble to the design on the side to the bulkiness of them, it just looked horrendous personally. Patta did a good job with the colorways, I'm not gonna lie. And there's 6 actually. There's 6 different colorways, which I didn't know. I thought there was only 4, but there's actually 6 in total. And activation wise, it's great because I think their colors are gonna be location specific, but they're still shit. Let's just say that they're still fucking shit. So let's actually check out quickly what they've got here. This is courtesy of Hypebeast. It says Patta announces 6 collaborative Nike Air Max Dn8 colorways. So let's expand. You've got this creamy colorway. It's creamy khaki sort of colorway, like wine Chardonnay colored. The uppers are mostly patent from what I can see here. Mostly patent on the upper, which is a bit different from what regular Dn8s kind of look like. And then on the side, you've got this kind of interesting mesh here that almost looks like a mesh you'd find like on like a mail bag. It's sort of like a mail bag mesh kind of thing, right? And then you've also got this really cool detail on the laces where you've got this carabiner, whether they kind of use when you go hiking and walking and shit, which I think is a really nice touch. And then of course, one of the best things about this is that, because back in the day you didn't usually get this, now you're getting it more often, but they've got the branding on the tongue. I feel like in the past it was just a colorway design, but nowadays I think loads more brands are getting a lot more license to do a lot more, you know, unique things, such as having your branding on the tongue there. So you've got Patta there, and I guess you've got Nike Air Max maybe Dn8 on the bottom. Mostly that cream colorway. There's one. There's a royal blue color, which is really nice to be fair. Although I don't like the Dn8s, I think the royal blue colorway works really well. I like the gradient here on the midsole with the white to the silver to the black, especially with the matching mesh as well underneath. I can't mad at that. It looks like there's 2 different types of mesh, by the way. It looks like there's more of a close-knit mail bag type of mesh here, and at the back you've got more open-knit black mesh here. I don't like this heel counter, this heel thing. I'm sure it's made for like comfort, but I don't like that heel counter. It's too bulky on the back, that plastic heel cup. I'm also not a fan of the Dn8 bubbles. I think they don't work too well. I think if you're going to do this design, I'd much rather the bubbles be bigger, and the only way this would work, I think, or would make it look better, is if the bubbles were bigger and they were more bubbles. So imagine if 2 bubbles on 1, I think the Dn8 would look far better. The 2 bubbles, but maybe they tried to do that and they kind of, in terms of testing, it kind of fucked up and it broke. I don't know, but that would have been better. And the toe box for me is too pointy. The toe box is too pointy, and this bends up too much. So not for me, the shoe itself. They look like they'll be incredibly bulky in person. Maybe they're not, but they look like they would be incredibly bulky in person. But the blue pair is definitely probably my favorite if I had to pick one. There's also a pink pair, a salmon pink, which is pretty nice. I'm not gonna lie, the salmon pink pair actually hits quite well. There's like a salmon pink pair with a blue swoosh on the side. Again, the same sort of gradient going around. I'm not sure if that's see-through. Not sure if it's see-through, but yeah, really cool design. And even that midsole kind of color gradient pops off really well here. Although it doesn't match with this sort of mesh, it does work a lot better. And there's also, I just noticed here too, logos on the air bubble itself as well. So you've got DN Air. So I guess that's another thing here, logo, and you got the Patta logo as well on the air bubble. Not mad at that. Yeah, that pink salmon pair is not too shabby. There's also a lime green pair. Oof, brat color. There's a brat colorway as well. I ain't mad at that in the slide. That might be a good one too, to be fair. That might be a fucking crazy one to wear. I also like the logo on the back. That logo, old TN Air Max logo on the back, is actually a nice little hit. And of course there's a brown pair. So yeah, not too bad colorways wise, but the model's just too shit. Release date, it says here October 1st for the Club Gold, so it's gold color, and the Game Royale, which are US exclusives. October 10th and 11th, or October 10th and 15th, sorry, for the black, which is European exclusive, and October 22nd for the white, which is Asia. I didn't see a white pair there. Did you see a white pair? Where's a white pair? Cream, yellow. There's no white pair there. Huh. Okay, maybe we don't see a picture, but it says in the blurb, we reported on the Patta brand Air Max Dn8 preview last month. Little did we know that just one pair, but 6 Patta and Nike are taking their campaign around the world, starting with Los Angeles in this week, and the 2 pop-up exclusive pairs, the Orange Frost and the Cyber. Okay, so Orange Frost maybe is the one that I said was salmon or pink. That's Orange Frost maybe, and then Cyber is the black colorway. Are traveling around the world. White Club Gold or Royal are dropping in the US only. The black is served to the Europe, and the white drops in Asia and South America. Each shoe features a patterned leather upper, so that's pretty cool because it'll mean that if you want to collect them, they'll be hard to get a hold of, but they'll feel more worthwhile because you're collecting them, you know. And they're obviously all region specific, which is cool too. You don't really get a lot of shoes that are region specific anymore. Now you can get access to literally anything, but that's kind of a nice little detail. The rollout of the Patta Air Max Dn8 collection kicks off tomorrow, September 26th, in Los Angeles, in Union. Awake and Kids of Immigrants hosting an activation. The 2-day event will see the Orange Frost and the Cyber pairs available alongside access to Club Gold. From there, Europe's exclusive black color will be a debut on the Sasson. Debut at Saisons in Marseille on October 3rd and 4th. I like how they're doing it in stores as well, taking it back to like stores, you know, activations and shit. It's kind of a bit of a throwback. I quite like that. I'm not gonna lie. The European sneakers and retailers will then drop the black pair on October 15th, 5 days after Patta hosts its European launch. So that's sick. So if you want to buy them, they'll be available to buy in store first at these locations, but then they'll be available to buy on sneakers later. I don't mind that. That's actually pretty cool. Everyone gets serviced. Works Out in Seoul will complete the activation tour on October 17th, 18th, featuring the Orange Frost and Cyber versions alongside the Asia and South America exclusive white pair. So can I see this? Let's see if we can find this Works Out store. They got on Instagram. Works Out. Yeah, there they are, right? Did they have it? Can we see this? What the white pair looks like? Okay, no picture of the white pair so far. I want to know what that white pair looks like actually. I'd imagine just like white essentially, so it's not that crazy. Let's carry on. What's Patta? What do they got on this? Instagram, do you have any videos for it? Yeah, we have a video for the Patta shoes. Let's see. So there's a block party happening on the 27th. Cool. Let's check it out. So that's the Cyber pop-up exclusive Orange Frost Cyber early North America on white as well. Yeah, okay. There's some pictures here of them, but I still think the Air Max 90 they put out before was better. I like how they're taking chances and trying it. I don't think they got an option. Maybe possibly I imagine Nike proposed that they designed a Dn8 to kind of rise the stock of the Dn8 and make it appealing to people again, but it's just not great, man. It's not a great shoe, I'm not gonna lie. It looks fucking terrible. There's a model wearing a pair actually here. They look a lot better in person on foot, don't they? I'm not gonna lie, they look a lot better on foot. The product pictures don't really do them any justice. What does the blurb here say? We out here on that familiar get familiar shit. Pop-up shop open today and tomorrow. So Union are doing a pop-up with the shoes. Yeah, they look a lot better on, don't they? I'm not gonna lie, they do look a lot better on. They do look a lot better on. They don't look as bulky as they looked on the product images. Yeah, they look a lot better on, I'm not going to lie. They look a lot better on. Still not that great, but they do look a lot better on. Yeah, there's something. I would have switched the gradient, you know. If there was me, I would have switched. I would have made the gradient black and light. I would have made the gradient black at the front, light at the back, because I think it does. That light gradient kind of bulks up the front of the shoe too much for me. I don't like that. I would have switched the gradient around there, but anyway. What else have they got going on here? Yeah, not too bad, not too shabby, not too shabby, man. They took a chance, you know. They took a chance. That Cyber colorway is hard. I'd wear that to fuck. They took a chance, but yeah, not for me in the slightest. But maybe I'll change my mind when I see them in person. Maybe I could change my mind when I see them in person. You never know. You never freaking know. Okie dokie, that has been the Action Zing Show, episode number 952. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's been a pleasure to have your company as per usual. If it's your first time tuning into a show via the podcast app, you know what to do. Smash like and subscribe, all that malarkey. For those of you listening via the podcast app, you will hear my tune of the day, courtesy of Zara Larsson, who's currently on tour at the moment. Album just dropped at the moment too. This is a track from the new album. The track is called The Ambition, courtesy of Zara, Larsson, The Ambition. Check out her new album Midnight Sun, which has just dropped. Getting all the rage because she's gone viral once again on social. Although she's been around for fucking ages, people are discovering how awesome she is. So definitely check out Zara Larsson. The track playing by voice is called The Ambition. Everybody else, I'll see you guys later for a random show. But for now, take care, be safe. Peace.